YouTube, it's your girl Razia J, and I'm back with another video. If this is the very first time that you have landed on my channel and you are seeing my face, welcome. And if you have been rocking with Ray, welcome back. Glad to have you here. It is truly an honor to share this space, this platform with you. And as always, if you are not yet subscribed to my channel or a part of my tribe, hit the subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything, and I would love to have you here. Guys, I feel like this channel has taken so many turns. Like, this channel has walked with me through so many big transitions, and I'm super excited that the truth, the core of this channel remains that this channel is about all things faith, family, and social work. Guys, I graduated from Fordham University on Tuesday. I am going to insert a picture so you guys can see me, my graduation pictures. It was a really good experience to actually go to the ceremony and to just participate and see so many colleagues. You know, they are my colleagues now, but at that point before our commencement ceremony, they were my classmates, and it was super nice to see everyone in person and just get to talking about what it has really been like going to this program. And I really started to reflect on the fact that I have spent the last 2 years going after the profession of social work. From my BSW to my MSW, it has been 2 years that has been enveloped in a pandemic. And I really wanted to come in and just talk about what it has been like to go through a social work program during a pandemic, post-pandemic, and what I'm going to do next. So I know a lot of people want to know, what is after graduation, what happens? And I think that the biggest thing to do is to reflect on right now. So if you want to just hear my reflection and hear my thoughts, stay tuned. So yes, guys, if you guys hear my kids, they are home. I'm not going to keep making this disclaimer. I have 2 kids and they are home with me most of the time. So with that being said, I wanted to come in and say, like, what it felt like being in a program via the pandemic, or what it felt like to be in a program during a global pandemic. So when I was in my BSW program, the year that I started my first internship, which was my final leg of that program, COVID-19 hit, and it was serious. Like, COVID-19 hit, and I remember all of our hybrid classes at Salisbury going to a fully remote state, and just having to navigate what that means for us as students to go from that in-person type of class setting to now a fully remote setting. And I know for many, we were panicking about what our internships were going to look like and what to expect from our internships. And I know for me, it was like a trifecta of things, because I was moving from Germany to America in the middle of a pandemic while being a full-time student, not knowing what the next semester was going to bring. I was fortunate enough when I was in that program to secure a virtual placement. And I think that it was in that placement and in that space where I just really started navigating or grappling with the thought of me having to do everything remote and like in a telehealth or work from home setting. And I think that the beauty with social work is that the profession pivoted very quickly during COVID. So that meant that social work students was not left high and dry, and that our courses, our schools pivoted as well. So when I was considering programs to go to for my master's, I intentionally looked at programs that had thriving online degrees, because I wanted to make sure that I was in a setting that could support me during a pandemic. Like, COVID was still happening. I think that when I got accepted to all the universities last year, Fordham being one of them, we were still wearing masks, like fully masked outside, right? And I didn't know what it was going to look like. And I knew that I only had a year in this program. So whatever program it was that I would apply to and get into had to be a program that was with the times and not really just figuring it out as they go because of COVID. And Fordham had a very reputable online program, and I felt like it was the best place for me to be in. And even when I started thinking about my placement for last year, I was looking for places that had the flexibility of in person if I could do that, but also the security of like a virtual setting. And I remember my first original placement was hybrid. I would have to meet with clients that were local to me, with a supervisor that was local to me, that was assigned to me. And then I would have to do some other grassroots things on my own via research or like activism or whatever other things that they had for me. And when that fell through, I know that I really felt like, oh my God, I'm not going to get this degree. And what am I about to do? And I ended up at the NASW New Jersey chapter, like you guys know. So it was really one of those things where it was just like, man, COVID is happening. And I am going through this program and going to graduation and hearing a lot of the students say that, their last year in their BSW program was online. And then their year at the MSW level was also online. So they literally was the first time for many of them coming back to campus. And I started to think about like undergraduate students who started school in 2018. Like they literally spent 1 year in a school setting, pivoted to an online setting, and then transitioned back to an in-school setting as seniors. That's a lot to take on. I know for me, Fordham University just opened back their campus in September. So my cohort had an option, I believe, to go in person, but I think that they really were opening it up for people, or students, I should say, that was already students, that were giving them an opportunity to come back and have that campus experience. And I know for me, I was doing school at the graduate level, so I really wasn't looking for this over-the-top college experience. But just to think that many people at Fordham University did not have that college experience, or they had it in a skewed way, really got me to thinking that we did this. Post-COVID was one thing. During COVID was another thing. Before COVID was another thing. But we did this. And going to graduation was a really good experience for me. Like I was able to see people. I saw the faculty chair for the team or the committee I was on. And it was so good to see Dr. McCardle and to just know that these people, although I met them in a virtual space, that I still have an opportunity to say that they are my colleagues and they're people that I can call on for advice or for recommendations or whatever it is. I know a lot of people ask me this question time and time again: how did I get plugged in, or so plugged in with Fordham University, with only being an 8-month student and also being virtual? And I would say I just spoke a lot. I spoke up. When people said, would you like me to do like a warm introduction to somebody? I did it, because although it was an online program, I didn't want to just be online and in my own bubble. And I think that's something that can happen in an online program. So I went to graduation and it was a really, really good experience. Now that graduation is over and done with, my diploma is on its way. I downloaded my e-degree and I have that in hand. Everyone's asked me what's next. I'm gonna put this here first and foremost. I was offered 2 jobs. I think I shared that with you guys in a video prior to this. I have at this moment already accepted a job offer. I start work in a week. And I want to share this, that this is a very fortunate thing for me. I know people who are leaving internships with no job. So this is a very fortunate place for me to be, to say that I have a job and I started next week. If you are a graduate level student and you are considering the social work field and you are thinking about how I'm going to secure a job after graduation, because people make it seem like the job market is so daunting, and it can be. I'm not taking away from anyone else's experience. I do want to urge you to get plugged in, get connected, whether that is with your school, whether that's really throwing yourself into your internship, if it's your passion, if it's a lane that you want to be a part of, and just speaking to people. The 2 job opportunities I got was because someone I spoke to told me to do X, Y, and Z, or this job opportunity is open. And I would say this, that I know a lot of people that got hired by their internship. So if you go to your internship and you give it your all and they have a vacancy, they are going to consider you the highest bidder. It doesn't matter who else applies for the job. They're going to consider you a good catch because you have already built that rapport. You have already showed them your work ethics and what you're capable of doing. And you have already made them feel like, okay, this person may be able to do this job, so let's explore that. For me, I'm not going to share where I'm working quite yet because I do think that we have to keep something for ourselves as content curators. Like, we can't just put everything out there. Like, we have to enjoy the moment as well. But I do want to share that going to school during COVID, and as COVID is starting to make its way around and get back to some form of normalcy, it was challenging. I'm not gonna lie. But I think that I did not allow COVID to be my excuse for engaging with the people that were in my path. So if you are going to school and you are starting your life as a social work student, I want to encourage you that whether things are atypical or not, give it your all and get plugged in. I can't stress this enough. Every time I share about something that has happened in my life that is really big as far as my journey to social work, it has always been through the power of connection. Don't think that you have to be on an island by yourself trying to figure it out. There are people that walked the path already. There are people who have forged a way. There are people who are doing it, right? For me, I knew I wanted to be in macro social work. So I started to connect myself with people who are doing that, right? So that they can see I have a desire and that I want to be there, and that they can be like, oh, okay, I know someone that may be a good fit. So I really just wanted to come in this week and let you guys know that as I transition to the next chapter, as I turn the page, that I want to encourage you guys along the way to get plugged in. Get plugged in. If there are conferences that you are eyeing up, go to them, network, talk to people. If you see someone on social media, on Instagram or LinkedIn or Facebook, don't be afraid to slide into someone's DM, because there is power in community. There is power in just speaking and engaging and just saying hi to someone. I'll be completely honest. I was in JCPenney's 3 weeks ago, looking for something at the little Sephora kiosk thing that they have in JCPenney's. And I was just walking and spraying things, and this lady asked me a question like, oh, what are you spraying? And I shared with her, I was like, oh, I'm looking for a perfume for my graduation. I want to wear something special to forever remind me about that moment. And as I was talking to her, she was like, oh, where are you graduating from? I said, Fordham University. And then she was like, oh, I went to Lemoyne. It's also a Jesuit university. And we started talking about what it means to have a Jesuit education. And I was just saying, like, I think that it really helped cultivate me as a social worker to have a holistic approach of what I want to do or what life should be like, whatever. And after just talking to her, she said to me, oh, what you got your degree in? And I was like, oh, I got a master's in social work. And she was like, wow, my job is going to be hiring in 2 months, and I think that they should hire a social worker. And when I asked her where she works, she basically told me, I work at this college that I just reached out to the director to. And it was mind blowing, right? Because now I had this connection point. And she was like, oh, I'm going to tell my director that I met you. and that she should reach out to you. And yes, they did reach out. And yes, you know, I sent in my resume, but I say all of this to say, like, there is power in just community. There's power in just getting to know people. There's power in just connecting the dots. If you see someone doing something, it's not that you're copycatting anyone. You see someone that inspires you, tell them and say, hey, can you mentor me? Can I shadow you? Or whatever the case may be. I'm super excited to start work next week. I start work on June 1st, and I'm excited about that journey. And I plan on taking you guys with me on the first day of work. So I'm not going to have a video for the rest of the week. But June 2nd, I will have a brand new upload, and it will be me taking you guys along my journey to my first day of work. And I'm super excited, and I can't wait to take you guys along the journey with me. So until next time, peace.